Well, here in Montreal, it's a 1-0 hockey game. A Don Maloney power play goal late in the first period for the New York Rangers has given them the lead. 14-11 the shots. The Canadians out shooting New York. Glenn Hanlon in goal for the Rangers played very, very well. Well, here in our first intermission, something just a little bit different. You are looking at Pat LaFontaine scoring a goal which made it 43 consecutive games that he had at least 1 point for the Verdun Juniors in the Quebec Major League. And that broke the consecutive game point scoring streak of a pretty good hockey player named Guy Lafleur. And I'm very pleased to have young Pat with us here in our studios. Welcome to Hockey Night in Canada. I think the next time we see you on this show, you'll be out there on the ice. You're draftable this year, is that right?
Yes, I am.
You're turning 18 toward the end of the month. Do you have, I guess you can't have any preference as to who you might get. The fact that you could go to a team in the lower regions, does this bother somebody like that? Or again, you could go to somebody like Minnesota who has a Pittsburgh draft choice.
Well, I like all the teams. I don't have really any preferences. I've always liked Montreal, Guy Lafleur, and Buffalo Sabres. Those are always my idols, and I always like the teams. But I like a lot of teams in the NHL.
If you don't really know what this young man has done this season, 81 goals, 108 assists, 189 points in 57 games. Here comes kind of a silly-sounding question. What's been the biggest thing you've had to learn in playing junior hockey, coming from the midget hockey ranks in your native Detroit?
Well, I think the on-ice every day and conditioning every day. When I was playing midget last year, it wasn't the same. We weren't on the ice every day, maybe 3-4 nights a week, but I learned to adjust myself, and it's been working very well.
In the Detroit area, how'd you start out, Pat? Did you start very young at a hockey age?
Well, I was born in St. Louis, and I started when I was 5. And then I started organized hockey. We moved to Detroit. I started when I was 7, and ever since I've been just organized up through Detroit area.
Family, I understand, had a lot to do with it. Your father very encouraging in your hockey career right from the start.
Yes, my mother and father are very, very 100% behind me in everything I've done, and they helped me very much. My father especially.
Did you have any heroes in the Red Wings when you were playing in the Detroit area?
Well, I like Gordie Howe, of course.
I guess everybody. Have you always been kind of a natural scorer when you played hockey? Were you one of those kids that always seemed to get a lot of goals right off the bat?
Well, I played with my brother, and we worked together, and I guess it seemed to happen. It just clicked, and I always kind of put the puck in. I guess it worked out right.
The fact that you get to see professional hockey like you do here in Montreal, here tonight and so on, you spend your time kind of studying the players, or you just spend your time enjoying as a spectator?
No, I like to study the players. I like to study all the, the Guy Lafleurs, all the super players, and I learn a lot from that, and I try to work on that in my game, and I use that a lot.
If you are drafted this year high, or you will be drafted high, have you plans to turn pro right away? Some kids like to go back and play junior. Have you really thought about it?
Well, I haven't really thought about it. All I know is, the team's doing very good, and I've been learning a lot, and, my dream someday is to play in NHL, and hopefully I'll just keep learning, and someday maybe I'll be able to play in there.
Well, get them young and train them. You will be playing. How'd you get to Montreal from Detroit?
Well, it's, I guess it's a long story.
We got 30 seconds to say
30 seconds? Okay. Well, I wanted to play in Cornwall at first in the OHL, and being an American boy, you have your choice of teams that were to play in Quebec, Western, or Ontario. So I was picked up by Belleville before Cornwall, and I was also picked up by Verdun, so I went to look at both, and Belleville was very nice people, nice city, but I was just more impressed with Verdun, everything they had to offer.
You've scored a lot of goals. Can you remember quickly the most you've got in one game this year? What is it?
5.
5? That's not bad. I'm sure you'll get bored now. Thank you very much,
Okay,
Pat.
thank you very much.
And the best of luck in your hockey career.
Thank you.
Pat LaFontaine, the scoring sensation of the Quebec Major Hockey League. Guesting with us, you'll see him in years to come out there in the ice on Hockey Night in Canada. The Rangers lead the Canadians 1-0 after one period. We'll have more on This Week in the NHL in just a moment.
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. Patty, when you watch a game like this, does it get the blood going again, getting back in a race like this?
Oh, yeah, Razor. We're all excited up there. We're sitting back. We're rooting the guys on. Pominville almost had that goal. This place would have gone crazy. But anytime the playoffs come around, it's what you play for. It's exciting. I know the guys were all rooting the players on, and let's hope for we want to get it done tonight. We don't want to wait till Columbus. Let's get it done. Big third period coming up. We've had a great 2 days, and let's finish it off on a good note.
You know what, Patty, one thing I really respect you about, you left probably a bigger legacy off the ice here as you did on the ice, and I knew that was a big part of what you wanted to do.
Well, hockey's a great thing, and I was blessed to play it for the 15 years, but I also think that playing that game puts you in a position, and the kids here in Buffalo were an inspiration to me, and the community was an inspiration. So as you do, Razor, the least we can do is try to give back, and they had a big impact on my life and my family's life. So it's great to be back here in this fashion, and the Pegula family's done an amazing job at bringing everybody back together.
You know, bringing them all back together, like you said, you're talking to some of the guys, especially the older guys, and it means so much to them to be welcomed back into an organization.
It means the world. And I think what Terry and Kim Pagula have done in a short period of time, in 6 weeks, has lit a fire in this community, and the players, and now the alumni is all excited to be back in this fashion. To have the respect, these are the guys who wore this jersey. We're so proud to wear this jersey tonight, and so proud to be able to tell stories of good days and great times here in Buffalo, and we're rooting this team on. We're behind them, and it's a great feeling to be back in this fashion. And I give them the credit because it's everybody. It's the community, it's the ownership, it's the players, it's coaching staff, everybody pulling in the same direction, and you got the alumni rooting for the kids out there.
One thing I try to tell everybody, and they don't believe it, I said Pat LaFontaine was a great player, but he was one of the dirtiest guys I ever played with.
Razor, I watched you all these years, man. I learned everything from you.
I still remember the night, Patty, you started a whole fight in Chicago. You crawled under the pile. You had your 2 gloves, and you're like, Razor, Razor. I'm like, what? Put your head between my gloves. They won't be able to hit you.
Oh, they were hitting you, too.
And it was unbelievable. And you started the whole thing.
Did I start that? Well, you know what, Razor? Here's what happens is that when you're a player out there and you got guys taking liberties, you got to stick up for yourself. I was lucky to have you on the team because a lot of times you create that space, and it was nice to pay that back once.
Well, thank you, Patty. Thanks for coming back.
Great to see you, Razor. Thanks,
Kevin.
All right, Razor, and boy, seeing those highlights of Pat LaFontaine, remember how great he was rushing up the ice those days with McGillivray and such. All right, when we come back, we'll have a look out of town and more on tonight's game as the Sabres trail 3-2 after 2.